Chicken here. So today I'm going to be bringing you the first of possibly many all Zuka guides, and our next installment in the Troop Loadout series. So I've definitely been excited to do this one. So let's just dive right on into it. I got a friendly challenge there in the chat that we're going to do a couple things on. So before we get into the landings and stuff, I'll just show a replay while I talk about this. It's gonna be RZM, I think, but do I have an Alzuka one? That would be kind of helpful. Yeah, okay. So before I actually start breaking into the basics and that, I just want to go over some of the basically a SWOT analysis of why you should use the Alzuka strategy. The strengths, incredible, enormous amounts of damage. You can basically bypass all the defenses, and you can ignore one-shot defenses covering the core unless there are, like, you're on, like, an operation and there's, like, 100 boom cans or something stupid, but that doesn't usually happen. Weaknesses, you make a mistake, you die, basically. It's one and done, kind of, with ZOOKAS. It's definitely the hardest to use because it's like the highest risk for the highest reward, basically. Like, you either take the core down and you're a hero, or you mess up and you look like the chicken on more or less occasions. Yeah, the key buildings that you're gonna want to shock that you just saw me do there, I guess. I'm just gonna put it on pause there while I talk about this so you can see them all. Rocket launchers and shock launchers are going to be number one. Rocket launchers with a decent amount of damage on them are you going to basically kill all your Zookas with, like, probably before they get their first shot off, and if not, definitely before they get the second one off, so those have to be shocked. Shock launchers are the number one priority. They will stop your entire raid in one go. I think they'll get one shot off before the shock launcher shoots, but then they're dead, so there's not going to be like many, if any, bases you can take down in one shot. So we'll let this play. Laser beams are another big one. You gotta be careful when you're smoking them up. If they become open on the landing and there's laser beams in the way, they can just zip right through them. Machine guns and flamethrowers especially, are going to pack a lot of damage if you miss one and they're standing right in front of it, as you've seen me do many times. Sniper towers, because they have a high shot per second. I forget what it is exactly. I think they shoot every 1 or 2 seconds, something around there. I guess we can check it out exactly. Time between shots, 1.4 seconds. So every second and a half, they're going to be killing a Zooka. That's not what you want. So the stages of a Zooka attack. Number one, you're gonna want to select your landing zone. We're gonna go on terror here, and I'm just gonna do a couple practice attempts. Select landing zone, land and group, advance to the core. Destroy, disable, or distract any splash damage or rapid fire defenses, and then kill the core. So number one is selecting a landing zone. So for say you're on an operation and, like, all these trees are rocket launchers, and we'll say the core is like right here, whatever this building is, and you have to smoke all the way down. So you're obviously not going to just let them fly out. You're gonna flare down, and you're gonna have to pre-smoke so that they can't get hit by the rocket launchers. And you can fit 4 boats per smoke. Just something to know there. And then basically you want to flare up. I didn't do a great job of it there. But yeah, you see how they went around that rock. And then basically, yeah, you want to flare up. You want to flare up while they're still walking to the right. You don't want to flare up while they're like, while they're still too spread out. Okay, so we're gonna come back here. I'm gonna open up that friendly challenge instead because that's gonna be easier. And Yeah, that's one way of landing if it's a rocket launcher heavy landing area. Okay, so yeah, you want to select a landing zone that's a straight shot from the landing point. If there's no rocket launchers or anything in range. So for this guy's base, say we wanted to get right behind the stone storage. So again, it's kind of well, since it's front loaded, actually, we'll try doing the other one. We'll try doing it the other way. You can land like this without using any flares, and it's gonna be more cost effective on your GB. It is a little riskier because, as you can see there, I'm getting pelted by the rockets. That's because I didn't put my smokes back far enough. And then say we want to flare all the way back here. Okay, so that's not going well, but you get the idea of what I'm saying. And as far as your smokes go, you want to keep the ZOOKAS in a straight line as possible because that's going to allow you to smoke less. You see, I did a pretty horrible job here overall, but think you get the idea of what I'm saying. Like, if you don't have them grouped up perfectly, and then when you go to smoke them, they're going to be walking around, like, all kinds of different directions and stuff. And that's not what we want, because we want to save our GBE as much as possible. Okay, and that's going to, that's all I was saying for that one. And yeah, for bigger operations, if you're not used to using all ZOOKAS yet, before you start, like, just going, like, okay, like, I've seen how this is done, like, I'm just gonna walk them in a straight line, do a couple raids where you hug the wall first, because that's gonna allow you to, it's just an easier way of doing it. No, it's not the most efficient way, but, you'll kind of understand, like, you'll start to understand the pathing better, and, like, how to time your smokes, and how quickly they're gonna walk, and all that. Yeah. So as I said before, there's two basic methods of landing. One is the flare landing, where you flare down and then group them all up. Um, I'll do it again for you here. So I shouldn't have thrown that second smoke out. So 1, 2, 3, 4 boats in the smoke, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 boats in the smoke. Now this guy's got rocket launchers like right there on the beach, so I did have to, and then like you'll flare up like that. Now again, I didn't do this greatly, but I hope that you understand what I'm attempting to show you here. And I also didn't clear the mines or anything, so they're probably just gonna die. But but yeah, that's basically how you do the flare landing if there's a lot in your way. We're gonna go ahead and murder the ZOOKAS. And yeah, so in the next land I talked about was there's a lot of front-loaded defenses. You can just you can land without using flares and just like use the enemy buildings to help group up your ZOOKAS before you flare forward or to the side or wherever you're going exactly. And as far as your flags go, I'll show you this one here. We'll start to take down terror now. So you see here, there's nothing in the way, but you'll see my flags. Once I put the smoke down, I needed a building right there, but they'll all fit under the smoke of the flag. But they walked out there because there wasn't anything in the way. But yeah, so we're gonna smoke up here. None of this stuff's gonna kill us. We'll smoke up right here. So you see how I'm trying to space my smoke? I didn't need to there because it's like it's stage 1 and whatever. But I tried to have my smokes out so the bottom line of the smoke is just touching the top line of the other one. And when you get them in a straight line, that's going to allow like the maximum amount of it's going to be the most efficient for your GB because it's going to be the least amount of smokes that you have to use basically. So yeah, that's definitely a big key of when you're walking them, is to group them up into straight lines. Okay. But yeah, like I said before, landing under fire, it's the same. Nothing changes. You just have to use more smokes on the landing. It's still going to be the exact same. 2 smoke for 4 boats, and then 1 more on the flare, and then you'll pick your line. So for this one here. But yeah, definitely master the uncontested landings first before you start doing the contested ones, because they are trickier for sure. As you can see here. Sorry, I feel like every attack I've done so far has been like terrible, but anyways, it's more important what I'm saying than what I'm actually doing. Another trick you can use is land your ZOOKAS outside the rocket launcher range, and then flare them and smoke to a point inside the no fire zone of the rocket, and then like say if there's just one rocket launcher like that one or something, you could land them right like that, and then you wouldn't have to worry about the rocket when they come out of smoke, and that would save you a shock. Just little tricks like that. So for this one, we'll try the this is actually more difficult because there's nothing in the way, so I'm going to have to flare, I believe. Yeah, so you'll see I'll put all the flags down in the same spot. I'll wait for them to kind of get in range of it, and then I'll flare them to try to keep them grouped up. And then we'll see, I'll flare them back this way, and we'll see how straight we can get them walking. I guess they go around the trees, I didn't realize that. Okay. So they don't like flamethrowers. They do not like flamethrowers. But yeah, that was kind of a wonky path because of all the trees and stuff. But I think you got the gist of it there, what I was saying before with the like just with how they walk around buildings and stuff. But yeah. So that brings me to the next point, advancing to the core. If your ZOOKAS are in a reasonably tight group and you flare directly ahead to a spot like I just did, well, they weren't in a tight group, that's why they walked around and I lost some. But and you flare directly ahead to a spot, like 12 o'clock from the ZOOKAS perspective, then they will advance in a reasonably straight line. The defensive buildings will funnel them to some extent, like you just saw there with the trees. They kind of funneled me around. And you can generally expect them to go around the sides of a building, of course. Generally, you're going to be able to cover your formation in one smoke, but if you guys are used to using warriors, you're going to want to space your smokes more tightly than you would for warriors and smoke earlier. Because you have to take into account the several second delay between you clicking and the smoke reaching the ground. With warriors at first, like if you miss one, they're just going to take like a couple rockets and it's not a big deal. But for ZOOKAS, that could be the end of your raid. Also, never flare onto a building. I'll show you in the friendly challenge what happens when you do that. You've actually seen me do it before in videos. But we're going to be flaring down this way. A couple smokes. Now we're going to flare them up over here, and then we're going to go this way. But yeah, when you flare onto a building, you've seen me do it on some operations when they accidentally lock the core. And what happens is they're going to walk out in a big giant U, and your raid's basically over there because you're going to take, like, it's something ridiculous, like 6 smokes or something to cover them all. Those rocket launchers won't be in range because I'm in the no fire zone. But yeah, that's why you never flare to a building until you're ready to take it out and come out from the smoke. Yeah, it's the semicircle formation you want to avoid there. So if some of your ZOOKAS do step out of the smoke, don't react. In most cases, you'll throw an additional smoke, but it's going to take so long to get there. This is more so for operations when you're doing a big walk. Yeah, when you throw your smoke out to cover them, usually it's going to take several seconds to get there, and the Zookas that were going to die will have already died before it lands. So you're better off to just say, like, damn it, and just let them get picked off. If it's only a couple, like obviously if your whole line walks out of the smoke, then you're kind of screwed regardless. But um, yeah, definitely start on pathfinding technique down for closer bases. And then once you master that, then you can start getting used to the longer runs. Some good ways to practice. You're gonna have to start doing operations, like difficult operations. That's the only way to get good at them. And you're gonna fail, just like I have many times. It just happens. But just learn from it. You will get better. I mean, I've sucked with Zookas for the longest time. I could never get the pathing down. I'm still far from like a Zmot level Zooka Pro, but I've come a long way for sure. Okay, so for down here, we'll try to do the big giant line again. There is a box of crates right there, so they should somewhat group up. Okay. But yeah, and plus once you get good at Zookas, it's definitely the most rewarding. Like highest risk, highest reward. Like taking down player bases using Zookas is probably the most fun. Now, I'm not sure about that flare. Okay, I wasn't sure where exactly they were going to walk. Okay. So we're going to scooch in front of the core. And you see how I didn't flare exactly to the core right there? I didn't want them to walk too far to the side because there's just too many defenses in the way. And I knew their pathing was going to get wonky. So that's definitely something you got to try to stay on top of. I don't think those rockets are going to do too much damage, so we got away with it there. But normally that wouldn't fly. But also, if you're used to using smoky hookahs, like you saw in one of my previous troop loadout episodes, you can basically run all Zooka by knowing smoky hookah. It's more or less the AI of the troops is going to be the same because you're still flaring and smoking the Zookas like you would. You just have to do it faster for the heavies to make sure that they stay out of range. Another my next point, I guess, is clearing your pocket by the core. I haven't had to do it yet because there's been nothing really in the range, but say there was like 6 sniper towers, like two on each side and then 3 in front of this one, and I wanted to land in front of the core and I couldn't do it because there'd be too many sniper towers, right? So I'd have to clear a hole, say take out 4 of them on the one side, and then I would be able to make my run and have my pocket, right? So that's basically all I mean for that is you have to clear a hole for your troops to fit under one smoke screen. To be able to take down the core without because if there's too many buildings, obviously they're just not going to stay grouped up. They're just going to walk around and go nuts on you. Okay, so I'm hoping yeah, okay, so they're going to walk up a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to walk straight to the back. So aside from these trees, there's not really much that they're going to walk around. So I can, you'll see what I mean by spacing the smokes exactly, like the bottom line touching the top line of the smoke. And that's just going to save my GBE perfectly. And that's all I meant by that is, again, just practice. It's just practicing your, oops. It's just practicing the AI and getting used to it. And then you can kind of tell, like, you can kind of look at the base, like I just did, and see, like, okay, there's trees here, there's buildings here. This is the way the buildings are gonna funnel my Zookas, so this is where my smokes need to be. Like, it wasn't the most perfect straight line. I did have to bring it around to the side a little bit because of the massive trees there. Um, so my next point is the Zooka's targeting logic. Okay, perfect. So for this one, we're gonna have to clear a pocket, like I was talking about before. But so for the Zuka targeting logic, their first priority is gonna be enemy defenses. Say I put them, like right in here where these boom mines are. Like, what are they gonna target first? They're not gonna target the bunker. They're gonna target the machine guns and the flamethrower. Um, Among the defensive buildings, they will hit the building that's has sorry, they go for the most heavily damaged defensive building first out of all the defensive buildings. So you've seen me do this before, where I throw an artillery down once the Zookas come out of smoke. If like a flare is too expensive and I haven't used an artillery yet, or something like that, and then they're gonna target whatever I have damaged a little bit. If tied, they go for the save damage two defensive buildings, like a shock launcher and a machine gun. Say I throw an artillery right in between the two, I've done the exact same amount of damage to both of them. And they're going to target the shock launcher first because it's got the higher health. So the highest health defensive building with with the most damage. And then after that, they'll target non-defensive buildings. Once all the defensive buildings are out of the way, and if nothing's left in their range, they're going to move to the nearest building, of course, just like every other troop. I believe they will move until they're in range of any type of building. Yeah, so they don't have like that selective of a priority. Well, where they're going to go for just defensive buildings on the map and like ignore the other buildings. It's just that split second when they come out of smoke. They're gonna go for the highest damaged defensive building first. Um, And the next step is to kill the core. The classic way to kill the core is to put your last flare and smoke within 5 tiles of the core, so that your entire formation is within 7.2 tiles of the closest range of the core. This is important for long walks, because you don't want to waste smoke and flare and time by getting them by getting by excuse me by bringing them back further than you need to be. Okay, so we're going to be diving on into stage 7 here. Then you flare the core, your Zook is targeted, then just before the smoke expires, attack all of the splash defenses in range of you. Same as Warriors, just like I talked about before, we talked about the priority of the defenses. Okay, so we're going to be coming in from the right side. So I'm going to be carving out a hole right about here. And I'm going to be putting some critters down right there. So I want all 4 of these buildings gone. Okay. Alright, so that's going to be my hole. That's where I want my Zookas to sit. And it's going to be a little trickier because it's going to take a second for them to all get kind of grouped up exactly where I want them. Okay. Now we're ready to walk. Okay, so I was a little late on the smoke there. Oops, I didn't see that mine. Okay, so we got, that wasn't the greatest. Kind of screwed a couple of things up. Now I threw another smoke down there because I needed more time. I just simply wasn't ready. So they're gonna turn, and now I'm gonna start the shock parry. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I missed the flamethrower. So that's not going to cost me, I guess, on this one, because it's just terror stage 7. It doesn't have that much health. But you get the idea. So I messed up a few things there. I was too Too slow on the smokes. I missed a couple mines, and I didn't shock the flamethrower at the end. But that's just stuff that happens. Like, no, like you just gotta get used to using them like that. Oh, we got a live operation attack here. And boom. So yeah, we did Mambo today. I'll get into that in a sec. I'll finish the Zuka guide first. So level 20 ZOOKAS, the new max is 22, but just for the sake of everyone that, like, I'm sure most people don't have max ZOOKAS, let's just see here. Level 20 ZOOKAS are going to have 489 damage per second before boosts. Assuming you have a 30% troop damage boost, that's 635.7 damage per second. Now you'll see mine, or sorry, level 21, not 22, excuse me. The damage per second is 538, and I've got 3 damage statues, so I get another 290.5. So the actual damage per shot is going to be around 1600, which is pretty huge. So I mean, they get off about 3 shots in 10 seconds, so 1600 times 108, I think we start with. Oops, where are we going here? 104, is it? Yeah, 104 times 1600 is, whoa, that's a lot of math. 104 times 1600, 160,000? It's a crap load of damage. It's a crap load of damage. You can calculate it exactly yourself, but you understand what I mean. Okay, so we're going to be... Okay, nice. We can make another masterpiece. But, yeah. But after, Yep. So let me know if you have any questions about using all ZOOKAS in the comments. There's definitely some more things I could touch on, but I think as far as the basics go, that kind of wraps it up. We'll take on an NPC base. I don't like doing NPC bases with ZOOKAS because I find the landings are pretty strange, as you've seen me. I've said before on this channel. But there's no rocket launchers right here, so we are gonna be able to let them kind of walk a bit. So I like to do about 5 boats and then wait a couple seconds and then do the 3. And I find that just kind of brings them all to the same spot at the same time. And yeah. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions about using all ZOOKAS. If there's anything else I can help with, touch on. Any tips for me that you've, for some of the ZOOKA pros out there that you've seen me make mistakes on. I'd be happy to hear that as well. And let me know if you're just starting out how you're doing with it. Like if you're just switching, trying to learn all ZOOKA, you're like mid-level or whatever, let me know how it's going, and if there's anything specifically that you need help with that I could try to figure out for you. And yeah, I'd definitely be interested to hear that. We'll break down the operation, and then I think we're gonna wrap it up for the video today, guys. So it was pretty easy operation today. We did Mambo, and we got our first tech crunch, which was interesting. I'll show my attack really quickly, I guess. I did this unboosted. Out of the way, chicken. My God, you're annoying. It was pretty bad. My landing, it was just awful. Like all the stuff I just talked about there, I did basically incorrectly. But there was like nothing in the back here, so like once I got them up here, I don't think many had died at this point. So all I had to do was just save enough GB to get a couple shocks off in the flamethrowers, and that was basically it. Yeah, and then that went down just from there. We won't show the whole thing. But yeah, same thing for high 5 every single time. We got a better Black River today because there's no shield generators. I guess it's blue water that the shield generators are on, not Black River. But you'll see him there using the enemy buildings to group up his ZOOKAS like we talked about before. And he's got that machine. He's gonna need 3 shocks, I think. So 1 on the machine gun, and then 1 on the rocket launcher, shock launcher, and then 1 on the rocket launcher. And you'll see in 3 shots he's able to take that down pretty nicely. So that was a really good attack. That was really good. And Tech Crunch. I actually haven't seen how we did this one just yet. I would have just gone ZOOKAS to the back and maybe taken out this rocket launcher here. I'm not sure what he's got with the Scorcher tanks on. I guess he's just clearing all the rockets and stuff, so it's easier for all ZOOKA. Because we do have an extra attack, so might as well use it. We were all trying to save boost today because everyone fully boosted for a tinderbox the other day. And yeah, we're actually going to get more force points out of this without boosting, which is pretty nice. Now this is interesting. So he's just clearing out everything exact that needs to go for all ZOOKA. So yeah, it's a pretty easy finish from there. There's like nothing in range. Yeah, the tanks aren't going to have enough damage to take that down, but that was a really good clearing attack. That was really good. And then obviously the next guy that goes in, I'm not sure how he managed to lose troops. It must have been on the cannons when they were close to the core. But we'll quickly show this. So yeah, he brought Cryoneers. I guess it didn't really matter. Like, as long as he had a handful of ZOOKAS behind the core, then he was going to be fine. You'll see where the Kairos stand, though. Like, they get right up there. They do not stand far back at all. Some of the cannons are picking off his heavies. The sniper tower's picking off some guys, too. I'm not sure where he lost the Kairos, but he almost lost all of them somehow. Maybe it was on the walk or something. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. And then the one we had just now, I see going in on Quay with the Scorcher tank. And yeah, this is a pretty good one for Scorcher tank because there's a lot of rocket launchers and there's a couple of boosted up cannons and some boom cannons in the back, but they're not necessarily in range or like in the way of where he's going, so it wasn't too big of a deal. And I believe, yep, locking the core, and he is going to have enough damage to pull that out, so that worked out really well. And that was the operation. So we're going to be doing Tinderbox again soon. I'll definitely get a video of it, of course. But yeah, all ZOOKA questions down below. Leave a like if you found this informative, interesting, entertaining, and we'll see you in the next one. Chicken out.